It is just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8, brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Saneboy Ngwane. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. We're coming to you live from our Hospital Hill studios in Mbabane. These are your top stories tonight. The President of Botswana, Dr. Eswatini, has paid a courtesy call on His Majesty King Mswati III. The Minister of Agriculture on Wednesday officially launched the International Livestock Value Chain Conference, and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy has announced an increase in the price of fuel by 1 lilangeni with effect from Friday. And now the news in detail. The President of the Republic of Botswana, His Excellency Dr. Eswatini, has paid a courtesy call to His Majesty King Mswati III. His Majesty the King met with His Excellency at Livestock Palace. Polile Mazia has more on that story.
His Excellency Dr. Eswatini arrived at Livestock Palace to pay a courtesy call on His Majesty King Mswati III. Upon arrival at the palace, His Majesty welcomed His Excellency and had private talks on how to better strengthen the bilateral relations between the countries, on strategies of how to develop both countries, and also on ways and means of dealing with challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. As a token of appreciation and welcoming His Excellency, His Majesty King Mswati III presented the President with gifts. The President also presented His Majesty with a gift to show appreciation and further strengthen the bilateral relations between the two countries. From the Kingdom of Eswatini, His Excellency, as the chairperson of SADC Troika, will proceed to Maputo in the Republic of Mozambique for the extraordinary Double Troika Summit. The Republic of Mozambique is the current SADC chairperson. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia with Tabiso Dlamini at Livestock Palace.
The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, on Wednesday officially launched the International Livestock Value Chain Conference. Now, the conference is held at the George Hotel in Manzini, while some other countries have joined the meeting virtually. Our reporter Fortune Langamandla has more on that story.
During the year 2019-2020, Eswatini managed to export 293 metric tons of meat to Norway. The International Livestock Value Chain Workshop, which is also virtually attended by experts from countries like China, Brazil, Cambodia, to name but a few, aims to help the country improve its meat production. When officially opening the workshop, Minister of Agriculture Jabulani Mabuza says there is a big opportunity that the country can benefit more in terms of revenue from meat production.
I am therefore certain that the deliberations from this workshop will provide different concepts that have lasting solutions in trying to tackle the current situation. Livestock plays an important role to providing a pathway to improved livelihoods and increased income. It contributes to human well-being, food and nutrition security. Livestock value chains provide employment and income generation opportunities, whilst making it important to ensure that the interventions address the needs of women, men, and youth.
According to a report by the Minister of Agriculture in the year 2016, the country did not export goat meat. During the workshop, representing ISWE Director Leon Kota says challenges facing meat production will be resolved when farmers are being capacitated on how to practice commercial farming.
What we've seen in the past in terms of our farmers is that they would just rear their livestock, be it goats, cattle, chickens and all of that, just to have them in the household. And in particular, when it comes to cattle and and goats. You know, a man is a man because of the number of livestock, you know, that they have.
Other issues expected to be deliberated include how farmers can be assisted in order to get financial support and further be able to sell their meat products. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with LinkedIn Gule at the George Hotel Manzini.
On behalf of His Majesty King Mswati III, Her Majesty, the Queen Mother, the government and the people of the Kingdom of Eswatini, the acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku has expressed condolences to the President Ram Nath Kovind, the government and the people of India for the loss of precious lives in the Indian Army after a brutal attack by insurgents in Chhattisgarh state. Masuku says it is the Emaswati's hope and prayer that the Almighty God will comfort the families and friends of those who lost their lives, the government and the entire people of India during this dark hour of bereavement. He says Eswatini also wishes a speedy recovery to those who are injured. The Ministry of Tingundla Administration and Development has officially handed over a consumer science laboratory room at Nzongomane Primary School in the Shisolweni region. Speaking during the handover, the Minister of Tingundla, David Ngampalala, said the project was funded through the Regional Development Fund.
The Ministry of Tingundla and Development is continuing with developing schools in the Shisolweni region. On Wednesday, the ministry handed over a consumer science lab which cost a total of 1.2 million emalangeni. The Minister for Tingundla and Development, David Ngampalala, says it was His Majesty King Mswati III's wisdom to start the Regional Development Fund, which has now built classrooms including the consumer lab at Nzongomane, as well as other development projects in communities.
Kuye hulumende wengubo yemhlaba lekakhulu sithumise sona lesikhwama lesasungula ngoye wekunene ngwenyama imthelela yaso iyabonakala kude la ngaboni mawubuka lobuhle lesingabona ubuka ukuthi imali tosita eMaswati le phansi lo msebenzi walamuhla nje sesitholile ethi 1.2 million lokuyinkomba lokuthi uhulumende uvele unakelela lonke uhlobo lwebantu la sikhona khona uma ubuka lesakhiwo noma ungasithatha usibeke eMbabane noma ungasibeka kaManzini noma ungasibeka kuphi siyafanela.
Minister for Education Lady Howard Mabuza thanked the Ministry of Tingundla and Development and the Regional Development Fund for the construction of the Consumer Science Lab.
The government is trying to focus on skilling, providing skills education to young people. So this consumer lab will go a long way in providing that for our young people. We are very grateful to Tingundla Ministry for providing this development in the school, and we do hope that the local community plus the learners and parents and teachers will look after the structure so that it lasts for more and more generations to come.
Mabuza implored the learners and all Nzongomane community members to take good care of the lab. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Sifiso Ngumalo. It's Mova Shongwe at Nzongomane.
The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilakazi, says while the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the global tourism industry, yet still African countries need to carefully revise the many existing restrictions which stifle intra-African travel. The minister was speaking when addressing delegates participating in the International Tourism and Investment Conference.
The International Tourism and Investment Conference took place virtually and was attended by ministers of tourism in Africa alongside their European counterparts, especially those from Greece and the United Kingdom. Representatives from Greece and the United Kingdom were roped in to participate in this meeting to share much-needed perspective on boosting tourism in Africa, because tourists from these two countries normally choose to vacation in Africa. The Minister of Tourism and Environment, Moses Vilakazi, says several pertinent issues and possible solutions emerged from this engagement session.
A number of topics and issues were discussed, one of which is the issue of connectivity to Africa, in particular intra-Africa connectivity. There was a realization that African ministers need to meet and discuss this, because it's very difficult to connect from one country to the next in Africa. Sometimes you have to go all the way to Europe just when you want to visit a particular country. The other issue was an issue of investment. What form and shape of investment that needs to be done, particularly during this period. One of the issues that some raised was the issue of the internet, which can be a problem, the roads infrastructure, obviously the issue of airports also, because there was a realization that out of the carriers or the airports in Africa, only a few have been given a good tick, which means there is a problem.
The two-day meeting ends on Thursday, and a wide range of topics will be discussed. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengwendlov with Muzim Konda in Babane.
The Ministry of Health says an update of the COVID-19 vaccination rollout program indicates that elderly people from 60 to 69 years leads with the number of elderly people who have been vaccinated, as about 4,258 have been vaccinated so far in that age group. This is contained in a statement issued by the Minister of Health, Lizzie Nkosi.
The statement by the Minister of Health, Lizzie Nkosi, says by Wednesday, 20,262 eMaswati were vaccinated using AstraZeneca vaccine since the National COVID-19 Vaccination Deployment Plan was initiated 15 days ago. The statement indicates that out of the total number of vaccinated people, 12,237 were vaccinated in different constituencies around the country, with 5,890 being healthcare workers and 2,135 are those living with comorbidities. On gender breakdown of those vaccinated, the report indicates that it is 50% males and 50% females. An average of 1,351 people have been vaccinated on a daily basis. The statement says elderly people from 60 years to over 90 years who have been vaccinated are 12,948, while 7,314 vaccinated are those from the ages under 20 to 59 years old. Currently, 21 out of 59 constituencies have been reached for COVID-19 vaccination. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Babane.
The price of fuel will increase by 1 lilangeni on Thursday midnight. The new fuel price will come into effect on midnight Thursday, the 8th of April 2021, and effective Friday, the 9th of April 2021. This is contained in a statement that has been issued by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, Dorcas Lamini.
According to a statement issued by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, petrol price will increase by 1 lilangeni a litre, diesel price will increase by 80 cents a litre, whilst illuminating paraffin price will increase by 50 cents a litre. The new fuel price will come into effect on midnight Thursday 8 April 2021, effective Friday 9th April 2021. In the month of March 2021, the Brent crude oil prices increased in an average of $66.46 a barrel compared to an average of $65.69 a barrel realized in the month of February 2021. The high oil prices are primarily as a result of lower crude oil production from the members of OPEC and partners. The lilangeni dollar exchange rate exacerbated the situation as it depreciated and averaged 15 emalangeni 1 cent in the month of March 2021 as compared to the 14 emalangeni 78 cents realized in the month of February 2021. The increase in the fuel prices will be as follows. The unleaded petrol ULP 95 price will increase from 13 emalangeni 15 cents per litre to 14 emalangeni 15 cents per litre. The diesel 50 ppm sulfur price will increase from 13 emalangeni 60 cents per litre to 14 emalangeni 40 cents per litre. The illuminating paraffin price will increase from 8 emalangeni 65 cents per litre to 9 emalangeni 15 cents per litre. The ministry encourages the public to use fuel efficiently as the international oil markets and the lilangeni dollar exchange rate remain volatile. For Eswatini TV News, Zoto Antlamini, Babane.
The Doctors Without Borders organization, also known as MSF, has officially handed over a clinic building to the community of Ndutwakazi under the Somtongo constituency and government. MSF's medical coordinator Edwin Mabena says the building costs about 103,000 emalangeni.
On Wednesday at Ndutwakazi under Somtongo constituency, Doctors Without Borders Association MSF officially handed over a 2-room building worth about 103,000 emalangeni to the community and government to be used as a clinic. MSF medical coordinator Edwin Mabena says all this was possible through a collaboration with other stakeholders that includes World Vision.
Their requests, we are going to be supporting them. Basically, what they've so far brought up was the provision of services, like making services, HIV, TB services closer to the communities. And that also is inclusive of HIV testing, TB screening. There's also now COVID screening. They've also talked of it.
Shiselweni Regional Matron Sisana Ndwande says they highly appreciate the building as it will help the Ndutwakazi community have access to health services closer to them.
So as much as besingafisa ukuthi kube outreach le site le lapho khona khona kubona kugomisa abamfana sibone nalabanye abantu abagulako nokuletha ama services abantu labathathe amaphilisi abo hypertension abo BP kanjalo nabo art.
Lavumisa Chief Prince Gasa Wangwane expressed his gratitude to MSF. The chief revealed that community members travel about 20 kilometers to the nearest hospital, which is Ekwezi. Hence, they are grateful to the MSF for helping in building the clinic.
Lesife lesidla sisitakele kakhulu ngani bongosi. Kuthi tiganga ito isita ingwenyama kubonakala ukuthi lapha nje kude nani niyabona kude laba lesife la siyakhona iclinic njengalokuqala nalokujofa nje kuthiwa kuyajofa nyalo for the COVID-19 sebatakwentela lapha Nkosi yami.
The Doctors Without Borders Association's aim is to avail health services closer to the people. Reporting is Tembelihle Makuchwa with Temba Shabangu, Ndutwakazi.
61 teachers have been promoted to head teachers of primary and high schools respectively in the country. This was announced by the chairperson of the Teaching Service Commission, Simanga Mamba, during a press briefing held in Mbabane. Eswatini TV's Zoto Dlamini has more on that story.
Following an announcement issued by His Majesty's government regarding the reopening of schools on the 29th of March, most schools in the country are already operating. Speaking during a press briefing held in Mbabane, chairperson of the Teaching Service Commission, Simanga Mamba, announced the promotion of teachers to head teachers for both primary and high schools.
For the smooth operation of schools, the Commission has promoted and posted 42 head teachers for primary schools and 19 head teachers for high schools. The Commission has tried to ensure that all schools have a head teacher at the time of schools opening.
Mamba has praised the government and the Ministry of Education and Training for the decision of promoting the teachers because most schools in the country will now operate smoothly. He further says most schools in the country were found operating without head teachers, and this was resulting in poor performance of students. Mamba has urged all teachers to work hard in order for the education sector to develop. For Eswatini TV News, Zoto Antlamini with Mbonga Dube, Mbabane.
Meanwhile, chairperson of the Teaching Service Commission, Simanga Mamba, says that the commission has renewed contracts for 992 teachers by 2 years. The teachers are expected to assume their positions from the 6th of April 2021. Mamba was speaking during a press conference held in Mbabane. Zoto Dlamini has more on that story.
As a result of the shortage of teachers in most schools in the country, because some teachers have passed away while some have been promoted and others retired, His Majesty's government has decided to extend contracts of teachers to 2 years. Chairman of the Teaching Service Commission, Simanga Mamba, further explains.
The Commission has renewed contracts for declared contract teachers for a 2-year period. The contract renewals are for those teachers whose contract expired in the year 2020. For the Manzini region, we have renewed for 284 teachers. Lubombo, 246. Hoho, 235. Shiseleni, 227. And this is with regard to high schools. These teachers are expected to be at their schools as of the 6th April 2021. The Commission has also engaged 200 primary teachers as we speak. These are teachers who are replacing those teachers who have retired, deceased, or promoted in the year 2020.
Teachers are sternly warned of scammers who pose to be from the Commission's office and promise them jobs, expecting money in return, to report those syndicates to the police and the Commission so that those scammers can be brought to book. For Eswatini TV News, Zoto Atlameni with Mbonga Dube, Babane.
Government's micro-projects unit has officially kick-started a clean water project at Ngaba, and about more than 90 households are scheduled to benefit from this project, which is estimated to have cost more than 2.5 million emalangeni. Our reporter Hlengwen Dlovu has more on that story.
With Ngaba being an area that is situated in the highveld of Eswatini, which enjoys generous amounts of rainfall when compared to other regions, many could be deceived into believing that the people living in this place then have good access to clean water. However, with that not being the case, the people of Mpoposi at Ngaba then formed a water scheme, which has been the driving force behind the eventual launch of a clean water project by micro-projects in the area. In a meeting held at Ngaba on Wednesday, micro-projects took the initiative to explain how exactly the water will be drawn from source to homestead. Engineer Kukumota informs residents that the initial plan was to source water from Malolojak Nature Reserve, but when the water scheme failed to secure a permit from Maloloja, Plan B was then explored as water will now be drilled from the ground through boreholes.
No, because if funding say tholakele and kuyiyekela ijike ungeke kube mnanzi kahle.
Chairperson of the Water Committee, Tena Lukele, thanked micro-projects for the clean water supply intervention. He says people currently draw water from very unclean sources like streams, which they share with livestock, a situation which then poses many health problems. Ngaba Member of Parliament Zakhele Magongo acknowledges that Ngaba suffers perennial water challenges. He says the Inkundla, however, is committed to changing the situation. He admits that the water project launched at Mpoposi on Wednesday is a first of its kind. He says as an MP, one of his personal commitments is to ensure that by the time he leaves office, a significant number of people should have clean drinking water. During the launch, Afrotim Construction was unveiled as the company which will install an efficient drilling and piping system. Afrotim has been given until September this year to finish the project. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Muzim Konda at Ngaba.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news making headlines in the world of sports. Eswatini Tennis Association Secretary Ngaba Mkalipi says the safety precautions will be fully adhered to when they host their first competition since they were allowed to resume with their games. Mkalipi was speaking during an interview with Eswatini TV Sports News. Patizo MCB has more on that story.
The Eswatini Tennis Association will this weekend host their first competitions when they host the tennis club competition, which aims to help the tennis players kickstart their season, which has largely been affected by the coronavirus outbreak. Abam Khalib, who is the secretary of the association, elaborates on this tournament and highlighted that the level of alertness on the COVID regulation will be higher than normal, and they will use also the Eswatini tennis courts in a way to avoid larger groups, since they are anticipating many teams to be part of the tournament. So they do not want to find themselves in a situation where a large group of people are gathered together, which can transmit COVID-19.
Club championships ukuthi adlale eminyakeni ophelile isengakaqali lockdown. Lockdown wendeka-ke kutabe kunama-club la afaka ekhathi bo-correctional recreation lobamba sifuna kudlala academy nalamanye litawuba khona lafaka umhlume. Imidlalo litawube ikhona ema-categories kutabe kunema-mixed doubles, nema-doubles, nema-singles for men and women. Lokunye ke sitawuqaphela indzaba ye-COVID, ekuthini i-COVID sitawubona ukuthi ama-mask, ama-sanitizer ne-social distancing iyendeka kusaqhubeka imidlalo. Ngokuba baningi kwebabukeli nebadlali sibone ukuthi siphinde sitholele enye indzawo ivenue la sitawukhona ukuthi sidlalele khona kuze ukuthi umkhuhlane ungadobhebedeleka.
Mkhalipi concluded by encouraging all athletes to keep training because they expect the standard to be higher, so they want everyone to be in shape. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo Msibi with Linda Dlamini Mbabane.
And now with boxing news, Isibonelo Nzemanze, who is a professional boxer based in South Africa, says he's looking forward to challenging for the African Boxing Union title. Nzemanze was speaking after winning his first fight of the new year in South Africa. Patizo Msibi has more on that story.
Eswatini's only professional boxer, Isibonelo Nzemanze, who's based in South Africa, had his first fight of the year that he won. Nzemanze says he's now looking at challenging for the African Boxing Union title, as it is a title that is also recognized by the World Boxing Confederation.
Yeah, well, my management is working on my next program. So if I
Nzemanze says the next fight he's expecting to challenge for is the African Boxing Union title. Right now, it's still early to say the time, but it will happen very soon. They will be challenging for the title, and he hopes to win it, which will be the first title to be held by Livestock. So he's looking forward to that.
Because the what called Eswatini asinayo i-title akekho liboxer like lathatha i-title Eswatini, so I'll be the first one ngokuthi ngibe ne-title Eswatini. So I'm working towards that ngokuthi si challenge sithatha i-title siyibise ekhaya Eswatini.
Nzemanze is pleading for local companies to
before ngihambe ngiyodlala bengibhizi ngicela ama-sponsor company la ngibani, so manje lokho ngibuyile ngidona nje ama-follow up ama-sponsor because I'm really struggling when it
says he's busy trying to get sponsors as he's struggling to get the support he needs in South Africa, as South African prioritize South African boxers, so he needs to come home and get support from local companies.
ngifune ama-sponsor or ngicela ama-sponsor company ngicela ngibani ukuze tikwathi nato ukuthi ting-sponsorishe, then mina in return ngikwathi ukuthi ngiba-advertise.
He concluded by saying he's already started with his training as he looks to keep in shape for the potential championship fight. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo Msibi with Linda Dlamini Mbabane.
And with those sport news, it brings us to the end of our news bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. But before we go, here's a quick recap of our news making headlines tonight. The President of Botswana, Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi, has paid a courtesy call on His Majesty King Mswati III. The Minister of Agriculture on Wednesday officially launched the International Livestock Value Chain Conference, and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy has announced an increase in the price of fuel by 1 Lilangeni with effect from Friday. Well, Eswatini, that brings us to the conclusion of our news bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. We shall cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the rest of the transmission crew. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us for now. It's good night and God bless.